Now, KOB Eyewitness News 4 at 6.
Never have I been afraid to show my affection, but now I hesitate to grab my girlfriend's hand.
The Santa Fe couple gets a scare in a parking lot. The two women say they were left covered in blood after they were beat up by a man and a woman. But was it a hate crime?
We sent our Joy Wang to Santa Fe to find out what happened.
The couple tells me they were just trying to enjoy their dinner Saturday night when a man and his wife looked at them in a very rude way. And that's when they decided to get out of the restaurant, and then a fight broke out.
When I stood back up after being on all fours, he grabbed my hood and pulled it down over my head and started punching me through my hood. And I didn't know what to do, so I just tried to pull my hood off, and he grabbed me by the throat and pushed me up against the front half of my truck.
These are the photos Haley and Amelia say they took as evidence moments after they say they were targeted and beat up because of their sexuality. According to the police report, it all started at this restaurant.
We were waiting for our check, we're getting ready to leave, when a family of 4 came in. And they saw me when they first walked in, and when they took their seat, they kept staring at my girlfriend.
Feeling uncomfortable, she says she decided to say something.
After he flipped us off, I stood up and I was like, what was that for? What did we do to you? Like, we were having dinner, we didn't do anything. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
The owner of the restaurant tells me she doesn't have any surveillance video of the parking lot, but what happened inside was she saw the couple approach the family and then walk out the door.
I was crying at this point.
Yeah, she was crying in the truck. I was trying my best to console her, and I was like, we should talk to a manager. Should we call the police? Like, I was close to tears. We were both really shooken up.
But then things got worse. They said the couple came out of the restaurant and started a fight with them. At one point, Amelia picked up a crowbar to defend herself.
I was covered in her blood. And at first she was hitting me, she was punching me, and then I remember she stopped punching me and she just leaned all of her weight against me and slammed me up against the truck, and she grabbed my hair.
The suspects never said anything specific about their sexuality, but the victims say it was clear what was happening.
I remember standing up and screaming, like, leave us alone, like, you made your point, like, leave, there's nothing more to do.
The couple tells me if police do find the suspect, they plan on getting the word out and showing up to court to testify against them. In Santa Fe, Joy Wang, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
You are looking at why all of us need to be really careful this fire season. This is Albuquerque's second Bosque fire in just about a week. Today's fire was south of Alameda on the west side of the river. Firefighters jumped on it immediately and kept it to just about 3 acres. While the fire is no longer posing a threat, traffic is still a mess on Alameda at the river. In fact, Alameda is closed because of all the fire vehicles that are parked there, mostly on the bridge.
Clock is ticking for lawmakers as the end of this legislative session is now just around the corner. And today the Senate sent a bill to Governor Martinez's desk aimed at shedding some more light on dark money in our state's politics. Kai Porter is live at the Roundhouse to explain why you should care about what that bill would do. Kai?
Hey there, Tessa. Well, if you vote, this bill should matter to you because what it essentially does is it increases the transparency of who is bankrolling our candidates running for office. Now, the bill has passed both houses, and now it heads up to Governor Martinez. Senate Floor Leader Peter Wirth, a Democrat, has been trying to get this bill passed for the last 4 years. And this year, it's made it further than any year before by passing both the House and the Senate. It's now just one signature away from becoming law. That's if Governor Martinez signs it. Senator Wirth says reforming the campaign finance rules is important in keeping voters informed.
Basically, you get groups that set themselves up in such a way that they don't have to disclose. And the reason it's a problem is that voters need to know who's giving to who in which campaign, and this bill will do that in those select windows. And it's really important because we're up against the First Amendment, but in certain windows when groups engage in express advocacy for or against a candidate or right before a primary or general election, this requires them to disclose donors.
And of course, we'll let you know if Governor Martinez signs the bill. Live at the Roundhouse, Kai Porter, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
This topic of campaign money reform is no stranger to our station and our viewers. Our 4 Investigates team exposed a major blind spot in the system back in 2015. That 5-part series identified the discrepancies in campaign records and how voters could easily be misled. The team also held legislative leaders accountable by asking them what they intended to do to help improve the system. Now, you can watch this special series at KOB.com.
The New Mexico Senate made a move today that could soon make history. The senators voted to override a veto by Governor Susana Martinez. The governor rejected a proposal that would have allowed teachers to take more than 3 days of annual sick leave without being penalized on performance evaluations. The vote is now moving to the State House. If passed, it would be the first successful veto override since 2002 and the first for Governor Martinez's administration. There are still several bills circulating around the Roundhouse, some that are aimed at protecting New Mexico children and families. Our Erica Zucco sat down with the CYFD secretary about the changes they're pushing for and found out what still has a chance of passing.
It's often the worst case scenarios, cases like the death of baby Brianna, that inspire ways CYFD wants to change our laws.
Some of them come up from prior cases, and then some of them are really just about getting stronger penalties on the books for people who hurt our children.
This session, CYFD pushed for nearly a dozen bills. Most of them would increase penalties for convicted child abusers. Others focus on protecting caseworkers, who CYFD says enter homes unarmed in tense times.
We're asking these workers to go into some incredibly tough situations and really put themselves on the line in order to protect these children. And I think as a state, we need to do what we can to also protect these workers.
Some bills have already been killed, but there's still a chance to pass laws increasing penalties for criminal sexual penetration of a child by someone in authority and for assault or battery on a CYFD worker, as well as an expansion of baby Brianna's law to give life sentences for intentional child abuse resulting in death up to age 18.
A lot of the discussion this session has been, should we be focused on prevention or on punishment? And we really firmly believe we have to do both.
CYFD says if the bills don't pass, they'll bring them back in future years. Erica Zucco, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
Members of an Albuquerque congregation have come forward saying they have been providing around-the-clock security to a grandmother under the threat of deportation. The Friends Meeting House announced volunteers are helping Emma Membreno Sorto. The Honduran woman has lived in the United States for 25 years. Her attorney says immigration authorities contacted Membreno Sorto while she was going through cancer treatment. She spoke today about the community support that she's received.
Y confío que hay más personas buenas en nuestra comunidad que entiendan que los inmigrantes no somos una amenaza, sino sus vecinos. I have felt
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials say they're checking on this case, and meanwhile, other Albuquerque churches are reportedly discussing offering shelter to immigrants facing deportation.
A public library in Santa Fe became the scene of some very bizarre and disturbing behavior. Library workers say a couple urinated on copies of the Quran, Islam's sacred book, and that's not all. The couple's accused of moving books around in the library, including displaying right-wing books on tables. They also allegedly damaged books, including a Bill Clinton autobiography.
Well, that's very disappointing because I think the library should be a safe place for sure. And there's just too much going on in our country right now with, very little tolerance towards other people. It's very disappointing.
Police are looking into the alleged incident.
We have new details tonight about the deadly shooting of a Navajo Nation police officer. According to the Navajo Times, the McKinley County Sheriff's Office says the suspect is Kirby Cleveland, and he is in custody. Investigators say Officer Houston Largo was shot twice during a traffic stop near Pruitt on Saturday night. He died the following day at UNM Hospital. Deputies say Cleveland was later found hiding on a ridge near a cave.
We now know about the funeral arrangements for Officer Largo. His funeral is going to be this Thursday. It'll be at Rehoboth Christian School Sports Center. That is just east of Gallup. It'll start at 11 o'clock in the morning with his burial following at Sunset Memorial Park in Gallup. Largo was from Thoreau, New Mexico, and a decorated officer of 5 years. He previously worked with the McKinley County Sheriff's Office and the Gallup Police Department. Dental care on the Navajo Nation can be hard to come by. There aren't many dentists on the reservation.
But CNM is working to change that, and Colton Schoen explains how.
When it comes to accessible dental care, the Navajo Nation fares as one of the worst places in the country. According to a study from the University of Colorado, the dentist-to-patient ratio is 32.3 dentists per 100,000 residents, one of the lowest rates in the country, and that nearly 70% of children had untreated tooth decay.
There's a lot of lack of oral health care out on the reservation.
Navajo Nation tribal member Larissa Morgan is enrolled in CNM's Community Dental Health Coordinator Certificate Program to help change that.
So to bring back a program like this to our people and to help them to better manage their oral care is something I wanted to do.
Program coordinator Melanie Upshaw says these students come in from the reservation on the weekends for 3 semesters.
We teach them how to screen for oral cancer. We teach them a little bit about palliative care so that they can go in and actually put in some temporary type fillings.
Student Regina Baya plans to hold information sessions at chapter houses, schools, and other public places to teach preventative care, and even drive to rural homes to meet with elders.
I'm thinking right now, how do we interpret all this to our elderly? It would be a whole new process, but, it'd be interesting.
And while the reservation has some of the highest tooth decay problems in the country, that same Colorado study says things have improved significantly since 1999. The students, Larissa and Regina, hope they can bring those problems down even more so after they complete this program. I'm Colton Schoen, KOB Eyewitness News 4.
Another warm day across the state with highs well above average. In fact, we were very close to 90 degrees there in Hagerman in southeastern New Mexico, topped at 89, right now 84. Santa Rosa hit 83, same at Tucumcari, and at Taylor Middle School here in the metro, we topped it at 79 with temperatures still in the 70s. And a warm one up the road in Santa Fe. Amyville Elementary School on the south side of town showing temperatures in the lower 70s with mostly clear skies, and we expect that trend to continue as pinpoint forward Doppler radar is not really showing much. And it should stay that way for a while. We'll talk about the warming trend that will continue for the next 7 days in my full forecast. Back to you.
We've always told you the dead giveaway with an IRS scam is the real IRS will never call you. But now a policy change will mean back taxes will go to debt collectors. Tonight at 10, Caleb James tells us how that'll add to the confusion and possibly make you more vulnerable to scams.
Caught in the act and put on blast. How an alleged car thief infiltrated a social media group designed to catch people like him.